Hey, everybody, we are on live here on Facebook with the Theotech Podcast, and I am Kevin Purcell, and with us today we've got a couple of our crew. First, I'll just show you Mark Allison. Hey, Mark, how are you doing,
Hey
sir?
there. Doing well, thanks.
Coming to us from frigid Georgia.
It is.
Yeah, and then you won't see his face because he's sharing his screen, but we also have Rick Mansfield. From both of them are from Accordance Bible Software, and today we're going to show off the brand spanking new. As of, was it yesterday that it hit 1.0 and you released it on your website?
Yes.
Rick? Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
so,
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I may not talk too much because I've had a bit of a head cold deal.
Okay.
That's why Mark's going to narrate and I'll kind of drive. So.
Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to show you. I've got the app, or I've got the Accordance website shown here on my Android Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and right now it's not yet in the Google Play Store. Hopefully, it will be very soon. But when it is, we'll tweet that out. So just follow me, Kevin Purcell. I'm K.A. Purcell on Twitter, and I'm sure Accordance will probably share it as well, that it's available in the Google Play Store, and hopefully soon after that sometime in the Kindle Fire App Store. But we wanted to show you how you can download it and install it from the Accordance app. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. Up there at the top, you'll see the blog entry. This is how I'm finding it real quick and easy. And unfortunately, the Accordance website is not mobile friendly, so I'm going to go down here. But just go down there and look for this Accordance Mobile for Android 1.0, or just search their blog or their website for that, and you'll find it. And you can read through this to get more information about how to do it. But down here at the bottom where it says installing Accordance Mobile for Android, tap here. Not should, but here. There you go. Tap here to download it. And my my thing is saying to download it. I've actually downloaded it, but I haven't actually installed it yet. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see here. And of course, it's going to open up. And if you're like me and you have it set where you can't sideload apps, if you have a more modern version of Android, it'll give you this thing where you can go into your settings and just temporarily turn on unknown sources. This little dialog says, are you sure you want to do this? And, do you want to do it only for this installation? That little check mark, if you uncheck that, you can sideload apps, which is what I'm doing right now, downloading an APK file and installing it from outside the Google Play Store. If you uncheck that, you'll always be able to do this. You won't have to ever come into these settings, but I like to keep it that way just for safety and security. But hit OK, and then hit install, which is at the bottom of the screen there. And notice that it is installing the app. App not installed. Oh, you know what? And it's kind of probably a good idea that this happened, because I already have the old version of Accordance Mobile installed, and I didn't realize that. So I'm going to have to uninstall it.
You had the beta version.
The beta, right. It was 0.7 something or another.
1.0 release, yeah.
Right. And so we'll start over here. All right. I know it's there. I don't want to have to go into my Astro Manager, File Manager, and find the file. So I'll just download it again. It's real quick. Open it.
And I'm not seeing your screen, or is that just me?
Yeah, you won't see it.
Oh, okay.
The way
That's
we're
fine.
using.
I'm seeing it on the Facebook Live. I pulled it over.
Gotcha.
tablet.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So I'm just quickly doing these steps I already showed you before. Again, now we'll get to this install. It should this time install it just fine without any trouble. If you were a beta user before this, you will have to uninstall first, which we found out that means you'll lose all your books. But you open it up, and it definitely looks different. The splash screen is a little more polished, and so that's what it looks like to begin with. Now, if you need to install your books, which you will, let's see, how do I do that again? Go into Easy Install, right?
Yes, go up to the little 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner and click on that. Yeah, and then go to Easy Install.
Yeah, and of course it's going to tell me I have to log in, which I will do that. I'm not going to do that while my screen is shared. But fortunately for us, you don't have to watch me install my books, because we've got Rick, who already has some books installed on his version of Android 1.0. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rick and let him show you what he has. He's already installed some, but go ahead, Rick, and let us know. And then
Well,
I'll go ahead
I'm
and
going to
log in.
I'm going to let Mark steer. My voice isn't 100% today because I've got this
Okay.
cold. So, Mark, you just tell me what you want me to do.
So, okay, that's great. Okay, Rick's going to obey me. So we're really excited to finally have this Android app available. We've been working on it for a long time. I know a lot of users are excited about it. It is version 1.0. It works great, but it's not feature complete. I mean, there are some features missing, but we've got the implementation of a lot of the basic stuff that users typically are going to want. So Rick has the ESV on the left-hand side and the Greek New Testament on the right-hand side, and you can see that they scroll together. There's a gray bar separating those two panels in the middle, and if you click on that icon or tap on that icon, I guess, because Rick are you using your Kindle Fire tablet to do this?
Yes, this is a Kindle Fire.
Okay, and that will change the orientation from like a vertical orientation to a horizontal orientation. So there you go. You can get rid of it altogether. The hamburger menu, I think they call it, up in the upper left-hand side next to where it says ESVI, will show you the table of contents, and you can navigate through that pretty easily. Click on the back arrow to get back to where you were, or just click off the screen. That'll work fine too. You can get rid of these. Actually, before we get rid of it, you can unlink the bottom pane by clicking on the unlink button. It's that, there you go. And so now you can scroll in either pane, and it won't scroll the top or the bottom pane, the corresponding pane. So that's kind of neat that you can unlink those. In the bottom pane there, you can change from, right now it's a text. You can change it to a tool if you want by clicking on the little button that looks like a scroll. Well, that's one of the things we do in Accordance. We divide all our modules into texts and tools, and essentially texts are all your Bibles and tools are everything else. That's not exactly true. Texts are essentially your primary sources, and tools are your secondary sources. So texts could include things like the Mishnah and the Josephus in Greek and things like that. But if you think about it as your primary texts, and your tools are your commentaries and dictionaries and journals and things like that. But so you can switch between. They both have to be reference based, obviously, to be able to scroll. But you can switch between a commentary, like Rick just did, and a Bible text just by clicking on that button. The floating blue circle at the bottom of the screen, if you tap on that, it'll show you some additional controls. You can move, especially if you can move, if you have the text selected, you can move a chapter at a time. And I believe if we just had if we had performed a search, it would allow us to go back and forth. We don't really need to do that, but you can click on the X to the right of the bottom bar, and that'll get you back in the mode where you can like a full screen mode, essentially, where you don't have to see those controls. All right, and tapping on it will bring them back again. In the upper right-hand corner, there's 3 icons. The icon to the left, if you tap that, will get rid of the second pane and return you to a single pane view. There you go. And the next to it is your library button, and if you tap the library button, it'll take you to your library and show you. You can open up text. What I really appreciate about the library is that it's searchable. So as your library gets large, it's real easy to find what you're looking for. So all your Accordance modules will work on Android, except for the same ones, I believe, that won't work in iOS, which would include things like the Atlas and the Timeline, and a few sort of esoteric kind of ones like the MTLXX module that allows you to see the the way the Septuagint reads the Masoretic text, things like that. But almost all your modules are going to work just fine in this version. Finally, on the right hand side, the right hand icon, the one that looks like three dots up at the top there, brings up a menu so you can easily install. The easy install feature allows you to download your library. So if you click on that, it's going to ask you for your username and password. If you don't have a username and password, then all you'll do is go to the Accordance website. And actually, I think it'll even let you create one right within the app. I'm afraid I can't remember exactly if that's correct or not. But you can also go to accordancebible.com and create a username and password there. And it'll be the same username and password in both places. The neat thing about that is anytime, I've been working with Accordance long enough that and some of you guys might be Accordance users long enough that you remember having to get CDs, and every time you had to install something, you had to get out all your CDs, and it was bad enough to have to put multiple CDs in to install something, but you had to put them in the right order, or it would mess things up. So no longer do you have to do any of that. Now everything you own is downloadable. If you buy a new device, all you have to do is download the Accordance app itself, log in with your username and password, and everything you own is right there.
And if I should point out too, if someone is not an Accordance user already, they can get a free, it's a free starter. Well, we're not calling it a starter library, but basically it's a basic library. It's got a number of public domain works, but it also has the ESV with the Greek and Hebrew libraries, which is helpful.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great way to get started. And if, for example, you only had Accordance on Windows or on the Mac and you never downloaded the iOS app, I think there might be some additional modules that come with it. They are public domain, but you might not have had them otherwise. So check it out and see what's there. To get out of this view, you can click on the arrow at the very bottom on the left-hand side. Will get you back to where you were. And again, if you click back on that button, you can go to your settings. Let's try that out. And here you can set your text display settings. And remember, we talked about the difference in Accordance between text and tools. So this is essentially all your Bibles. Your tools are going to be all your commentaries and so forth. But you can set most of your basic stuff here under text display, whether or not you want superscripts, for example, whether you want to suppress poetry, whether you want to have things like paragraph displayed or separate verses, that kind of thing. So a bunch of different settings there. Under tool display, if we try that, same kind of things. Rick, if you scroll down a little bit, just some basic stuff. Account settings, that's where if you haven't logged in yet or created an account, you would go there, and then the end user license agreement too. So the little help icon up the upper right will take you to the help documentation. I find this kind of handy. You can search for different things in the help documentation and find out more about installation procedures and so forth. And it's all with, and there you go. And that's fine. We don't need to go through that. But yes, you can welcome to the help. And so if we go back by clicking on the little, the traditional Android back button down at the bottom of our screen, should take us back to the app itself. And let's see, and to the text itself. And I think that's everything that let's try searching. Of course, let's try searching. Search up at the very top. It's I like it because it's obvious. It's not hidden away. Search features are pretty easy to use. As you can see, you can switch between Bibles. Since we're in the ESV, that's the one that's going to be displayed, but you can switch it to any other search text that you'd like. And if you go to the commands button, search with words or verses, click commands, all the typical Accordance commands are here, including things like tags and so forth. So all the powerful features, search features that are part of Accordance are available here. And tap on the options button there. So yeah, here's where you can choose between a flex search and just a normal search. Let me just explain what that is really quickly. A normal word search is going to search for the literal string of characters you typed in. So if you typed in LOVE, a non-flex search, a word search, would only search for LOVE and no variations of that. But a flex search will use an algorithm to look for all the variations of love. So you'll find loving, maybe loving kindness. But anyway, loved, lover, things like that. So, and you can set your range. We've got some predefined ranges here. And you can set your context as well. So you can search just within the New Testament, Old Testament, prophets, stuff like that. So, and then to get out of the search window, you can, just tap outside it, and then you're back to where you were before. But you can search for something if you want. If you just do a word search for something like love, and let's see what we get. You can search in Hebrew or Greek. You'll need to set up your Android device to have those Greek and Hebrew keyboard options, and then it'll work that way. Works great. So once you've performed a search like this, you can click on the little X next to the right-hand side of the box, and that'll take you back. But yeah, as Rick showed you, you can also switch between texts and so forth too. Of course, yeah. I think that's everything. Go ahead and try something else. Yeah. Oh, I'll let you do it in English. I didn't even realize it would do that. I thought you had to install the Hebrew keyboard. So thank you, Rick. I learned something today. That's great. So search for bara, as long as you know the Hebrew radicals that you need to type in, the transliterations for those. Just to note, there are some things that aren't available yet in the 1.0 app. Things such as instant details. In our iOS app, and of course in Windows and Mac, you can click or tap on a word, and it'll show, if it's a tagged text, it'll show you the information, the parsing information, and so forth. That's not available yet in this version 1.0 release. No user notes, no highlighting. Those things may or may not be things you use a lot, but anticipate that they'll be added as quickly as possible, because we know that those things are important for everybody. And certainly it's our goal to have feature parity between all our devices. So working on that.
So at this point, it's essentially just kind of a glorified book reader, and that's what people should expect from it. And
that's right. Yep. Don't expect you to be able to tap on any word and have anything dynamic happen at all. So I don't want people tapping all over their device, wondering why their device is broken because nothing's coming up. It is essentially a book reader right now, and a searchable book reader. But right. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll give it back to you guys if you have any questions or want to add anything.
Well, if anybody does have questions about how things work or needs some help with it, where do they go?
Yeah, the best place to go is to our forums. I think if you go to accordancebible.com, there's an easy link to our forums, and asking any kind of question there it will get you a quick response. And you can also go there are some help numbers too if you go to our support page at accordancebible.com. But yes, I think our forums probably are they're not more responsive, but they, you can get an answer in the middle of the night usually from someone, because we've got users all over the world. So it's a great place to start.
Yeah. If you're not, one of these people who wants to call someone on the phone like me,
yeah.
I'd rather not talk to a person. I'd rather just, put it in there. And my experience just as a user has been that my questions get answered fairly quickly, and often by employees of Accordance Bible Software. In fact, Helen Brown, is that her last name, is often a big part of the forum. You can see her right there on the screen. Is often one of the people to quickly answer questions about, and she's one of the top people. So Well, cool. Anything else that you guys want to show off or talk about with Accordance? Either one of you, Rick or Mark?
Yeah, I think you mentioned, Kevin, it's not in the Google Play Store yet, but it'll be there real soon. But right now, yeah, you can download it straight from
And
the site.
it'll also be available on the Amazon Fire. And we're going to, from what I understand, we're going to keep the ability to just directly sideload it as well. Some people prefer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people may prefer that. I think most Android users would rather see it in the Google Play Store. So it'll be a lot better when you can do that.
It'll probably be quicker to get updates by directly downloading it because, every update has to pass approval from all these app stores. So,
well, that's true. You may not know that there's an update unless you frequent the forums, but that's probably true because it usually takes a week or two before an app gets submitted before it gets sent out to everybody in the Play stores.
I don't even know, but I guess we'll find out, right? How long it takes. We're all new to this, I think, pretty much. So.
Well, on the Android side, that's what I've heard from other developers, that it usually takes about a week, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer.
I'm hoping that because we've got most of it ready to go, so I'm hoping that we'll be in the Google Play Store in less than a week. So
that'll be great. That'll be awesome. All right. Well, that's what we were here for today, was just to show off the great new Accordance Bible Reader and Book Reader app, and I look forward to when you get some of the more advanced features built into that. Of course, you can always do all that stuff on your computer, and if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you can do a lot more with those apps still. What I often do, is I found myself more and more while I'm actually doing the writing of my Bible study or my sermon, is I'll have my phone or my tablet, right near me, and I'll have my Bible app open in it, while I'm doing that. And so, maybe all you need is the access to your books while you're writing. You don't necessarily need all the whiz-bang features when you're at that stage in your process. And it'll be cool to be able to do that. Plus, if you're one of these who just reads through the Bible, you open up a book and leave it there until you come back and then continue reading, and then it's there, and you don't necessarily need a Bible reader functionality. Does that come in iOS? Does it track your Bible reading, and give you reminders and all those kinds of things yet? Or do you have anything like that?
Not yet, not in iOS. And it'll keep, it'll record where you were, but it won't give you reminders of what you have to read. And that's one of the things I'd love to see in future updates is tracking like that. I, for one, love, I usually try to read through the Bible in a year, but, as I'm struggling to get through something like, Numbers, I start slowing down, and then I need to catch up, and having some kind of reminder for that is, or the ability to catch up where you were, that's all good stuff. So, that's one of the features I think we're looking at for a future release.
All right. Well, great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We're, going to go ahead and sign off then. And we'll, put any kind of, we'll put a link to that download spot in the comments underneath this video here in just a second. We'll try to put this on our YouTube channel. This, it didn't work too well last time, but we'll see if we can get that done fairly soon. But, thanks guys. Appreciate you showing off Accordance Bible for Android, and we look forward to more updates. Please make sure that you let people know that we're over here on Facebook Live more than we are on YouTube. We'll still try to upload to that YouTube channel after we finish these Facebook Live videos. Follow us at the Theotech Podcast over on Twitter, and follow us here on Facebook. To be honest with you, I can't remember what our Facebook designation is. I think it's also facebook.com/Theotech Podcast. I think that's the page. But anyway, if you're here, you already know. So you don't need to do that. All right. We're finished. Thanks.